What's up, people? Welcome back to Trucker Logic, and today I'm going to do the second video of stopping the trans insanity. In the first video, we talked a little bit about the politicians and how they just go whichever way the wind blows. And we know that. We know politicians are basically whores for sale, and they're going to go with whatever they think is popular. So they look at social media, they look at Twitter, they look at polls, but they're not really able to judge the actual feeling of the majority of the public, because the majority of the public is scared to speak up on this issue, because most of you have been guilted into feeling sorry for these fucking people, and you're being forced to go at this from an angle of compassion. So we basically have to let them be, and take the live and let live approach, which would be fine if it was really live and let live. You know what I'm saying? It would be great if it was live and let live. It used to be live and let live, because again, trans people have been around ever since I've been alive. There weren't that many of them, and there aren't that many of them now either. It's just a fad. Like I said, it's to be part of the popular crowd, you've got to be trans these days, and people are using it to be part of the victim class, to be part of the oppressed class, so that they get special treatment. And I think that that's where we have to draw the line. When these activists try to infiltrate into women's sports, they try to infiltrate into women's bathrooms and locker rooms, and they're trying to force the rest of us to be part of their delusion. And that is unacceptable. That's where we need to draw the line, and that's where we're at today. So it's important. This is an important issue. It seems like it's so stupid, but it's an important issue because the politicians are basically creating laws and rules that oppress the rest of us to prop up these trans activists. And that's unacceptable, because look, the trans activist people are not in the majority. Most people don't want men playing in women's sports. Most people don't want men in women's locker rooms, especially in teenage girls' locker rooms and bathrooms. Most people are not on board with that, but most people are too scared to speak up. And that's why I'm doing these videos. That's why I'm telling you it's time to speak up, people, because it's gone too far. And so if you don't want this to completely take over your lives, then stop playing their game. So first of all, if you are asked to put your pronouns in something, refuse to do it. Whether you're at work, whether you're trying to sign up for something, refuse the pronoun shit. I know it sounds stupid, I know it sounds simple, and I know people are like, well, it's just pronouns, who cares, just let him. I mean, but that's being part of their delusion. Because everybody knows if you're a man, everybody knows your pronouns. If you're a woman, everybody knows your pronouns. And just because somebody else that you have no affiliation with demands that you use the pronouns they want, doesn't mean you have to do it. So just don't do it. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? The consequence, okay, accept the consequence. It's going to be either you deal with the consequence, or you're just a cowering little sheep who can't even stand up to the trans shit. It's sick. It's disgusting. It's sad. It's totally sad that we're living in a society today of people that are just watching this happen, don't agree with it, and refuse to do anything about it because they're scared of what people might think of them. Oh, what people might think of you. People that don't pay your rent, don't do shit for you, don't mean shit to you, and you're gonna let these people dictate how you feel? Come on. It's so disgusting. I'm sorry. So look, we've got to show the politicians that we're in the majority, that the majority of the people do not want this trans shit pushed on their children, pushed on their girls, pushed on their women. They don't want it. They don't want to be forced to play into it. And I agree with it completely. If you're an adult and you want to be trans and you want to cut off your dick and wear a dress, cool, go for it. You're an adult. But once you start invading my space, once you start demanding things from me, or once you start trying to indoctrinate or groom little children to believe that this is normal, then you're crossing the line. Once you pull out your dick in my wife's bathroom or locker room, you've crossed the line. Once you pull out your dick in somebody's daughter's dressing room or bathroom or play on their sports teams, you've crossed the line. And they're crossing the line every day, more and more. And that's only because we're letting them do it. So stop letting them do it. Stop letting them do it. So if you're a girl or a woman and you're playing on a sports team, and one day, a dude walks in and says, I'm trans, I'm going to be on your team, refuse to play, refuse to swim, refuse to compete. That's the way to do it. And the more women and the more girls that refuse, the quicker this shit will go away, because look, a team can't function if it's just one trans dude on it. We all know this, so it's not going to take much. Just stop playing their game. Stop it. Stop feeling sorry for them. Stop. There's nothing to feel sorry about. They are infiltrating on you, so don't allow that to happen. So if you're a woman, that's what you can do. You can just refuse it. You can refuse to go along with it. If you're a man and you have a woman in your life, whether it be a wife, daughter, girlfriend, niece, or just a friend, whatever, if any of these women in your life are being negatively affected by this trans insanity, then it's up to you as a man to make it stop. To make it stop. If they can't make it stop on their own, it's up to you as a man to make it stop. And that's what you should be doing. Now, don't hide behind, well, it's the law that they can go in the bathrooms. Well, it's the school's policy that they can go in the bathrooms and they can play on the sports teams. I can't do anything. Yes, you can. If you as a man can't even solve this issue for the women in your life, then you are basically worthless. What if it comes down to war, or like actually protecting your women from something, or you have to, do something that involves some risk? If you can't even stop a dude in a dress from infiltrating on your girl, wife, daughter, niece, whatever, if you can't even stop that, if you're not even man enough to stop that, you are basically just a pussy. You're basically just a pussy. You're probably going to lose your wife. You're probably going to get cheated on. That's the kind of man you are. Because women don't really want a pussified woke man who will let another dude basically infiltrate on their private spaces. So that's one. That's what we can start doing. That's what we should start doing. Now, for the rest of you, if you're a cop, if you're a police officer, and you see an adult performing lewd acts in front of children, which is illegal, do something about it. Arrest them. Even if it's not going to stick. Even if it's not going to stick, the charges might not stick because you're in some woke district in America where the DAs and the judges are all for this shit, and they're just going to let these people go. Don't matter. Your job as a cop is to follow the law and arrest people that are breaking the law. So if you've got some trans activist, jiggling his nuts in front of a 5-year-old, and you see that as a cop, it's up to you to do something about it. Don't cower down. Don't hide away. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Arrest him. You know it's wrong, because if there was a kid in a strip club, if there was an 8-year-old boy in a strip club with his dad, or an 8-year-old boy getting beer from his dad, that dad would be in jail. That dad would be in jail. And so we know that it's just a double standard, and you shouldn't play the double standard game. You should do your job. So if you're a cop, do your job. That's another way to stop this shit. And the other way, of course, is to just not go along with it with your wallets, like we're seeing with Bud Light and with Target in America, that they are getting, raked over the coals. They're losing millions of dollars because people are just sick and tired of this insanity being pushed on them and their children on a daily basis. We don't want it. We want to go back to the live and let live principle. If you want to be an adult trans person, go for it and do it. Just stay in your fucking lane. Don't try to infiltrate women's places, and live your life, but leave us the fuck alone as well. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have this problem. So that's what we need to do, people. We need to start pushing this shit back. We need to start pushing it back. Regardless of laws, regardless of policies, people need to start speaking out. Otherwise, it's going to take over. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we're going to be living in a society where you're going to be forced by law to call a hairy-ass dude in a dress she and princess. It's ridiculous. It's demoralizing. And that's what the government is doing. They're using this to demoralize the rest of the people. That's the start of totalitarianism, people. Demoralizing the public. That's the start of totalitarianism. Making the public say things that is not true, that they know not to be true. That's the start of totalitarianism. And this trans shit is just a vehicle for the government to impose this totalitarianism. And we have to stop it while we can. So, listen, people, don't be weak. Get some balls, get some courage, speak out against this insanity, because we all know it's completely insane and it's gone completely off the fucking rails, and we need to put a stop to it. It's just that simple.